Well, hello and welcome to this second edition of Big Questions in 5 Minutes, in which I will attempt to take a big question and in 5 minutes discuss the Christian response to that question and then hopefully demonstrate how that response is best. And last week I began by addressing the question of the problem of evil. In light of the COVID-19 pandemic, many people are asking the question, if there is this all-powerful, all-loving, all-knowing God who exists, then why does evil exist? Specifically, why does the COVID-19 virus exist? And last week I attempted to give one of the unique answers that Christianity can give to this question, and that is the fact that we can be certain of the fact that when we die as Christians, we will exist for eternity in a place where there is no evil. Now, while the uniqueness of this answer does not prove the truth of Christianity, I do think it makes Christianity worth considering. And so this week I want to turn our attention to another general observation that I think we should make about this question before we address the specifics. And that's something I alluded to last week, in that no matter what worldview you take, you have to deal with this problem of evil question. For example, the Hindu who believes in reincarnation and karma, when he sees someone who has contracted COVID-19 and dies from it, understands that that particular observation of evil in that person's life is simply karma acting in that person's life to justly punish them for deeds done in a previous life. The Buddhistic perspective on the problem of evil is that if you even think that the problem of evil is a problem, that's a problem. Because the whole point of Buddhism is to rid yourself of desire so that you can avoid the pain and suffering of the world. And if you do that correctly, then you wouldn't think that there is a problem of evil. And then I want to spend the rest of our time on the perspective of atheistic naturalism. That is, the perspective of someone who believes there is no God and who thinks the universe is all there is. Now, I do not think that such a person can consistently even raise this problem of evil question. And that is because although they, just like all people, can know that certain things are evil, I do not think that they have the worldview capital, if you will, to explain why those things are evil. You see, from an atheistic, naturalistic perspective, things just are. There are people, there are viruses. Sometimes people get viruses, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they die from the virus, sometimes they don't. That's just the way things are. There is no good or evil to be considered. Now, this does not mean that I am saying that atheists, or atheistic naturalists rather, can't believe or even know that certain things are evil or that certain things are good. Of course they can, and I'm certain that most do. However, I don't think they have the appropriate tools within their worldview to explain why those things are evil. I think the atheistic naturalist, in relation to the problem of evil, finds himself in a similar situation to someone who wanted to explain to you why a car moves when you press the gas pedal without believing in an engine. The person who was in that situation might say to you, I believe that when I press the pedal, the car moves. You believe that when you press the pedal, the car moves. Why do I need to add this concept of an engine to my belief system in order to explain the movement of the car? Well, obviously that person has failed to realize the distinction between knowing that the car moves and knowing why the car moves. You can know that the car moves without having any idea about why it moves, which is the situation I'm in. When I press the gas pedal, I don't know why it moves at all. I just know that it does. But that doesn't mean there's not an explanation for why. And so, in relation to morality, I think the atheistic naturalist finds himself in the same predicament. He may say that there is a such thing as a problem of evil, but in saying that there is a problem of evil, he is saying that there is a such thing as evil. If you assume there's a such thing as evil, then there must be a such thing as good. If there is good and evil, then there must be a moral law by which we can distinguish between the two, good and evil. If there is a moral law, then there must be, if you want to have in any objective sense morality, a moral law giver. And of course, the atheistic naturalist doesn't have that within his worldview system. And so that is why I think the Christian response to this question is a better response than the atheistic naturalist response. I think it's a better response than the Buddhist response, because obviously I think the Christian response says that we should be taken aback and disgusted and hurt by the evil we see in the world, and that we shouldn't rid ourselves from the desire to even want to do anything about it. And I think it's better than the Hindu response, because the Christian response tells us that when we see a particular evil in a person's life, that doesn't mean that it's the consequences of actions that they have done or the actions of others. And for these reasons, I think the Christian response is better than the other responses I've discussed in this video, and I think that is worth considering.